Hey everybody! Next book that I read in 2020. This is on to book number 5 now. I'm going to get into the books that I'm starting to read in February here. So, first one that I finished, I listened to on Audible again. It was called The Courage to be Disliked. This is a book where it kind of changed. It's a different way of thinking than maybe we're used to. So, quite often, when we think of reasons why things are happening the way that they are, it's usually in like a teleological way of thinking. So what that means is like kind of like classic Freudian psychology. So what that means is um, this happened to me, so this is the way I am, kind of thing. It's like cause and effect, right? Let's say that you were ignored as a child or something like that, neglected, and so now you kind of have become a shut-in. A lot of people would say that the reason why you are a shut-in now is because you were neglected as a child before. This kind of flips that script a little bit, and it kind of talks about how people are doing things for a reason or with a goal in mind. So for that person that's a shut-in, um, they are doing that behavior so in order to get people to worry about them and think about them, right? That's their goal. It's not this happened, so this is the way I am. It is I'm behaving this way so that people will notice me or whatever. Whatever the person's goal is, depends. Real quick summary of the book here. It's a longer one, so I'll condense it as best as I can. So they say in this way of thinking that every single problem can be boiled down to an interpersonal relationship problem. So whenever there is like some sort of disagreement or something like that, it boils down to how you and that other person react and get along. And that usually stems, if there's a disagreement, it usually stems from vertical relationships. So what they talk about is like having someone feel like they're superior in order to someone else, or you feel inferior to someone else, right? So what we want to do instead is create a level playing field where even if you have a boss, let's say, and you are working underneath the boss in the classic terms in the classic workplace work environment, we want to try to create an environment where the boss is kind of not coming down to their level, but they kind of help bring that other person up to their level, and they are viewed as equals. Okay, you all have different skill sets, right? There are different people who are better at certain things, and so when you get into this horizontal relationship, you are on equal playing field. And instead of saying things like "good job" to someone, because that can kind of look like you're coming down on them, you say like, "I really appreciate your hard work on this subject or this topic. It doesn't go unnoticed." Stuff like that. Um, just little, they talk about little key like switches in your vocabulary and what you say to someone that can really affect the way that they view the relationship, whether it's as vertical or horizontal. Another big thing they talk about in this book is like how to be happy, basically. And they say that the courage to disliked is, or having courage to be disliked is what leads to true happiness. But there are a lot of things that tie into that. So in order to feel like you're, um, I don't know, in order to have the courage to be disliked, you need to not worry about what other people think of you, but you also need to feel like you are a part of a community, right? So if you feel like a part of if you feel like you're part of a community, you know that it's obviously okay to be there, and you feel welcomed, right? That's one source of being happy. And another thing that makes you feel happy is providing value. So that makes you feel like you're welcome in that community because you're contributing something greater to that community. Like you're contributing value, you're helping people. That's a big thing when it comes to happiness across a lot of the books that I've read so far, is providing value. Provide that to people and you will do what you like, because that makes it easiest to provide the value that you're looking for. And then you'll feel like you're contributing something, and that's what leads to a lot of happiness as well. Continuing on, you want to feel like, again, this is kind of that community feeling. You want to feel like people are your comrades, not your enemies, like they're looking out for you. And of course, that's going to make you feel a little bit safer in whichever part or whatever community you are in. And like I mentioned a little bit previously here, so true happiness, they say, comes from having the courage to be disliked. So you believe in what you're doing, you're providing value, you feel like you're in a part of a community, and you're contributing to that community. But let's say that someone doesn't like what you have to say. That is not your fault, right? Like if you're doing what you truly believe and you're providing value and you know that it's good, then having someone else reflect poorly on your opinions or your work is not something that you should be worrying about. And that's where they say true happiness really comes from, because you're really being yourself and you're really providing that value. They use this separation of tasks is the key phrase. So the example here that they gave in the book, and they talk about it at great length, is your own opinion. It's not up to someone else. It's not up to you, sorry, whether that person likes it or not, right? That is their task. So separating, a lot of people think that, okay, maybe they conform and they change their attitude or they change their views just to make somebody else like them. You're treading on dangerous ground there. So you're kind of succumbing to that person's pressure and you want to make that person like you. So you change the way, you kind of turn into a chameleon, right? You change the way that you are just to have that person like them. And that's a completely natural thing, but you might be not as happy as you could be. And so that's what they're saying true happiness comes from, is being able to be yourself and have the courage to be disliked by other people and not worry about it. And that comes by separating these tasks. So if someone doesn't like you, that's up to them. That's their task. You can't control that. And like I said at the beginning, it's kind of just a different way of thinking. And this is a really, really quick overview of what the two different types of thinking you're kind of looking at. So yeah, if you're into kind of broadening the way that you think about things or thinking of things in a little bit of a different way, this book was super, super good. It changed the way that I'm looking at a lot of things. This one, like I said, I listened to on Audible, but I'll put the links below if you want to go check it out on Amazon or Audible. You can do those. And this, like I said, this is book 5 already. If you want to go check out the other books I read before this, they're in this playlist. So you can go check those out as well. And the next book that you can probably see that I'm getting ready to read is over here. It's by Jonah Berger. I've kind of started it already, but this is the book. This one is a hard copy one. So I'll, again, have a review on that one coming up shortly. And then you can follow the links and all that if you want to see where it is on Amazon. It's just the easiest place to get it. That's where I'm getting all my books from right now. So yeah, have a good one, crew.